Welcome back to You Be the Judge. My guest is Judge Michael Barrasse, and our topic is the Veterans Court. And Judge, we talked about the problems the veterans have, but what can veterans locally who are interested in helping you out with this program, tell us a little bit about how the mentoring program is going to work and where they go to sign up or what they need to do.
What they could do is contact either our probation office or our treatment court here in Lackawanna County, which is 496-1736, and say that they'd like to help as a mentor. The mentors will be going to a training. You simply don't walk in the door and become a mentor. There's a training that goes with it that was established in New York, and that we are following the format offered there. That's first. Second of all, we're looking to set up actually support groups for veterans that are in the courts, so that they actually have a place to go to talk about what the problems are, and more importantly, find out what the solutions are, what they need to do to get out of the problem that they're at. A number of people have contacted us in other counties saying, you know, what can we do to get involved? Obviously, other court systems are going to be more willing to partake in it if they see that there is an interest in their jurisdiction. So any place surrounding Lackawanna County, a number of courts, whether it be Lycoming, Wyoming, Bradford even, Luzerne, have treatment courts. This is really just an expansion of the treatment court to say we have special resources that the VA is giving us in regard to veterans, and we have special needs that need to be addressed. So we're pairing together the resources with the needs to move this court forward, and I think the veterans are an integral part of that to help the ones that are now arrested. You know,
for 18 years I had the privilege of serving in the Pennsylvania National Guard. I spent 2 years in active duty, but when I was in the Guard, the term summer camp was used to describe annual training. And probably the last 5 or 6 years, they developed what was called the One Army concept, where we trained with the same intensity that the regular Army did. We had training evaluators from the Mountain Division up at Fort Drum, or from Fort Benning come up and evaluate us and really work us a lot harder than we'd ever experienced in the past. But I couldn't imagine when I got out of the Guard what it would have been like to mobilize a group of guardsmen for combat in Iraq. Guys from northeastern Pennsylvania who'd never been in the desert in their life, and even Desert Storm. I mean, we had several of our lawyers around here in Desert Storm, and legislators. I think Attorney Tim Foley was over there, and Tom Tighe, who was a colonel in the Marine Corps. But today's veteran, particularly the reservist and National Guard, has so many challenges and so difficult. And I think this Veterans Court is tremendous. And I would encourage everyone who's served as a veteran, who's interested in being a mentor for this court, to please make the phone call, and we'll put it up on the screen, the number. And Judge, give it to us one more time.
496-1736. The receptionist is Ann. You tell Ann that you want to help with the Veterans Court. She'll sign you up, and then we'll contact you when we're going to have the trainings.
And how much of a commitment of time is it for a mentor?
It's not meant to be one that's onerous. It's looked to say if the person can call you, if you can meet with them in the beginning, obviously, the beginning phase, maybe once a week, and then later on once every couple weeks, just to work through some of the issues that the person's facing. Now, obviously, that's going to change depending upon how serious the problem is that the individual is facing, not only with the criminal justice system, but with their personal life. You may get an individual that's already employed, that's already educated, who doesn't have a lot of family problems. On the other hand, you may end up with someone who needs a lot of help and companionship and support and guidance.
Well, even before veterans faced the problem of 18-month mobilizations to a war zone, I can remember helping veterans in my company or in my brigade who in fact were having job-related problems because we called them up for flood duty or a trucker strike or to help in a state emergency, and their employers would say, hey, you go, you're going to lose your job. There's a law that protects that, and veterans need that kind of help as well.
And you can imagine right now, with unemployment being what it is, that's a real risk for some of these veterans. And trying to find employment when they get back is not the easiest. It's not as though people are saying, hooray, here's our veteran, let's give him a job. And that's a real dilemma for an individual that was over there fighting for their country. They come back, and all of a sudden they can't find a good-paying job. That's a serious problem.
And the other problem is a fellow who has a high-paying job all of a sudden is a specialist fourth class for 18 months in a war zone. His family still has a mortgage payment that's due, and it's amazing how quickly people forget about the laws that were passed in other wars, like the Veterans Help Act, where
supplement the wage of the person so that they're able to make it.
The wage, but also you can't take a judgment against a veteran when he's been called up.
Right.
So I mean, there are things that we can educate these mentors about to help them, and I think it's a terrific program, and I think it will impact on society here in northeastern Pennsylvania in ways that people haven't really even considered yet.
I think one of the parts of that has to be that these individuals are going to realize that they're not alone in it. Often when people get back and they're suffering from whether it be a mental illness or drug and alcohol, they're embarrassed about it. If they're able to get into a program, they're going to realize that there's a lot of other people that are dealing with the exact same issues. It gives support not only to them, but also to their families. And it shows them that there are things we can do here, and it's not just me. I'm not crazy. This is a real problem coming back from war that I need to deal with.
Well, that's the act I was thinking about, the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act. But, think about that. A young guy comes back. He was perhaps a bricklayer making $45,000, $50,000 a year, working a lot of overtime and doing well and living a life accustomed to making that kind of money. And all of a sudden, he's a specialist fourth class, making maybe $25,000. And his family has trouble meeting it. He comes back, he's overwhelmed with debt. Depression is going to set in because when you have money worries, you don't sleep very well. Your self-image is destroyed. And what ends up happening? He turns to alcohol.
Exactly.
Family starts to fall apart. And it all comes back to the fact that he was a hero that went away to protect his country. And frequently we overlook that, and it's really unfortunate.
We had a similar situation in a case just a couple of weeks ago where the individual came back and he was a contractor. Obviously, he lost his contracting company while he was away. Here's someone that was in business for themselves. Well, you get back all of a sudden, you can't just start up tomorrow. Where's that equipment? Where's the money going to come from for that? And the family did suffer tremendously. A person then defaulted on a couple of his loans, and the next thing you know, he was the drugs and alcohol, and ended up spiraling.
Judge, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes, and we're going to wrap it up. But I want to talk about a couple other things that people can do to get involved. So please stay tuned to You Be the Judge.